So please welcome Tom Paladino to the show. Welcome, Tom.
Thank you so much for the invitation, Ev.
You're very welcome. Yes, it's been like I said before I hit record, I've known of you and have learned a little bit until I realize I know a lot more now because I knew you're coming on, and I have really been studying your work on Scalar Light. And it's so fascinating to me
Thank
because
you.
it's like it's been going on for forever. But my point and how I want to begin this is, I understand, like, when you were younger, you were interested in Tesla, and you would read the Tesla books, and that would fascinate you. And so I want to uncover your magic.
Sure.
Why the connection to this scalar light energy, and why when I look at you and you're the science, it's like you are Tesla in a different body. Like, like I feel like you have this passion in you to share this with the world, and world of what we're going through right now and how it's been in the last, so many years. There's bravery, courage that you are doing this. And I really admire that. So can we start by uncovering your magic and why this Tom Paladino has come to this place in his life?
Well, we're going to speak about technology, scalar energy technology, and the overarching consideration is to help people.
Right.
What's technology for? To help people. So we might throw a few technical terms out, but don't let that in any way stymie you. We're going to help people. I am a humanitarian at heart. And yes, at a young age, I started to study Nikola Tesla. I would devour his books, and I would think about what Tesla was doing as a scientist. And I said to myself, later in his life, later in the career of Nikola Tesla, he was working with the energy of the stars. He even said that he wanted to access the solar power. So no longer was Tesla interested in electrical current, but rather solar power. Now, why is that important? Well, we should listen to him. Why not use free energy from the stars, from the sun? This is where Tesla was leading us, and we need to revisit his work. Scalar energy, solar energy will solve so many problems. That's the point of this, to help mankind.
Right. So you're studying Tesla. You get to a point in your life where you decide, okay, I'm going to start figuring out how to create this device to help heal people, help do so many things. It's beyond
Yes.
like, it's amazing.
Yeah, it is. So what started out as theory in my, let's say, my high school, my collegiate career, became, if you will, took a significant turn in 1993, which at that time, I started to work in practice. So in 1993, I had the good fortune to meet a family by the name of Hieronymus. And that began my, if you will, hands-on experience. The Hieronymus family were likewise scalar energy researchers. By the way, none of them survived. If you will, I'm carrying on their work. And in 19 miniature versions of scalar energy instruments, Tesla instruments. Now, this instrument that I have in my laboratory is a modification of that Hieronymus instrument. They're all custom built to the point of being groundbreaking. My discoveries are groundbreaking. And I say that because I'm the only one right now following up with this work.
Right.
Nobody has followed up with the work of the Hieronymus family. So if I'm the only one, then it's per se, it is indeed new and groundbreaking. But not much longer. Why? The world is starting to catch on.
Right.
I work with the energy of the sun and the stars. This instrument behind me controls that energy of the sun and the stars. I can feel it right now. This instrument is operating. It's so strong that if I hold a light bulb in my hand, the instrument will illuminate the light
Oh,
bulb.
wow. Huh.
So that, if you will, is the free energy, the energy of the sun and the stars that can illuminate a light bulb. So what's the point? If we can do this locally, illuminate a light bulb, then eventually we should be able to do that at a distance, giving the world free energy. That's on my, if you will, hit list, so to speak. Right now, though, I'm working with quantum science, with energy science to heal the energy field. Now, to be clear for your audience, this instrument works with people and animals in their energy field. It's not physical. I access the aura, what some people might call the information system. And it's so much easier working at the level of information as opposed to working biologically or at the biochemical level.
Right. Okay, so explain this. So scalar light, there's two forms of energy.
Yeah.
Scalar light and electromagnetic energy.
Yes, correct.
Scalar light is non-physical. Electromagnetic energy is physical.
Correct. Very good.
Okay.
Yes.
So
okay.
explain.
So all energy initiates from the sun and the stars as scalar energy. It's perfect energy. It's perfect intelligence. And as that energy leaves the stars, it takes on physical matter and it becomes electricity, so to speak. It converts into electricity. So my contention is, why work with the physical realm when the spiritual realm or the non-physical realm offers greater possibility? Why? Because you can transcend time and space in the non-physical realm with scalar energy. Now, if you look at science, if you look at nature, the physical realm is fine, but there are impediments. There are events that present themselves by way of the electromagnetic spectrum that impede motion, or, if you will, subdue motion. I'd rather work in the non-physical, the spirit realm, in which nothing can impede that energy. Scalar energy is a primal force. Nothing can stop it. No event can change its course of action. So what am I saying? Scalar energy is perfect action, perfect instruction, and it doesn't degrade to the biochemical level.
Right. So when you're healing, so let's go to what you created, and because I have a lot of deeper thoughts in my head that I've learned from you that I really think my audience will enjoy. But I want to get to the thing you created that you were just showing us on this video on behind you, and how people send the pictures and the different things that how you heal it, how the photo, the picture is emailed and it comes to you, and how the photo is a signature of the human.
Yes. Right. Fair enough. Okay. So Ashley and I are having a conversation through our computer. I see her image. Her image is now obvious to me, but she's not in my computer. It's her image. Okay. So if Ashley were to send me her photograph, likewise, her photograph is her image. So when I work with people, now keep in mind, I work at the spiritual realm. It's all non-physical. I work with the energy field of an image. This is my photograph. And if I place my photograph inside the instrument, I access the energy or the information on the photograph. So if you can do that by way of a video call and share information, it's a non-physical sharing of intelligence information, then you can share information by way of a person's photograph.
Right.
100 years ago, if you said, well, how can you have a conversation through a computer? It's done every day. Or how can you see somebody in a TV? Well, it's their image in the TV. And likewise, my instrument works like a TV, and I work through images of people. Right. Now, the distinction is my TV, my scalar energy TV, allows me to influence that energy on the photograph, to access and to influence the force field on a photograph. That's what's fascinating about the scalar energy realm. You can, if you will, communicate with a photograph.
Right. So now let's go into the healing aspect and how you, I mean, if you want to bring in, like you talk a lot about an incurable, like herpes and Epstein-Barr and all the things that we haven't been able to heal, but you can explain how you somewhat Lyme disease. I mean,
That-
it's endless. I mean, the
it
list
is.
goes on. Like you can, it's incredible.
It is. Now, keep in mind, everything I'm stating, I'm working through an energy field. These are scientific principles. There's no human reason. I want to make that very clear. Well, if I wanted to eradicate the Epstein-Barr virus, follow my thinking. I'm going to hold up a photograph of the Epstein-Barr virus. This is a magnified photograph of Epstein-Barr. Now, keep in mind, everything is an energy signal. Don't think of this in chemical terms. My photograph has a signal. The Epstein-Barr virus has a signal. The two photographs, the two images communicate with one another. In a scalar energy environment, everything connects and communicates. If I had Epstein-Barr, this instrument would find Epstein-Barr as a signature, as an energy signal or energy signature. And the instrument then would bring the Epstein-Barr virus to a state of chaos, nullify it, remove it. So working through the realm of spirit or non-physical communication, we could look for the, if you will, the marker, the energy signal of Epstein-Barr and remove it. And the upshot is people say that they feel better. Many people say, well, whatever you did, Tom, it worked because I no longer have that nagging feeling. I don't have any marker. I don't have any, if you will, viral load for Epstein-Barr. I'm going to show the audience. This is a PCR test that was conducted after I worked with this individual by way of their photograph. This individual had a follow-up PCR test for Epstein-Barr. And according to that test result,
wow, negative.
There's no viral load, negative, no sign of Epstein-Barr.
Wow.
Now, this is common with us now.
Right.
After I work with people, they say, Tom, whatever you did, I no longer have a viral load for Epstein-Barr. Okay. Can we explain that by Newtonian science? No. This is not Newtonian science. Here's another PCR test result. Person had herpes and Epstein-Barr.
Huh.
No viral load for Epstein-Barr. Another test result, undetectable. No viral load for Epstein-Barr.
Amazing.
Now, again, how do we explain that? Well, you cannot explain that by way of medical science. You cannot explain that by way of Newtonian science. This is a new science in which we access energy fields in which we can negate the energy field of the Epstein-Barr virus. So what's my point? This requires a new understanding. This opens up a new branch of physics. Scalar physics is a new branch of physics. It's not taught at the university level.
Right. But it's not new because Tesla had it way back then. And then he died and they took all of everything out of his office or his house.
Yes. Let's recount. Thank you. The day that Nikola Tesla died, the United States government seized his notes, his laboratory notes, all of his inventions. And we've never seen that since, which is really, it's quite rather dubious. Why would you do that? Why would you seize this inventor's lifetime of work? Well, we're trying to resurrect what Tesla achieved. And I'll offer this, that anytime you have great technology like this changes the social order. It changes the economic order. So I'm not going to shy away from this. Once scalar energy is embraced as a science, and then, if you will, commercialized or used in a broad sense, this will change the way we live. This will change the military-industrial complex. This type of technology will change the social order. Now, some people like that, and some people are intimidated by that. So consider what I'm saying now. By the way, working with these instruments, you could work with one photograph. You could work with 100 photographs. Today, early in my lab, I work with miniaturized photographs. I work with 500,000 photographs today.
Wow.
From people around the world.
Has it gotten busier? I mean, I've known of you for 3 years. I know, has it just from like 2020, have people, their minds have been shifting toward this belief?
Yes, because it's well carried now by the internet. See, the drawback that Tesla faced, he did not have the internet.
Right.
And he was, if you will, ostracized. I am not ostracized. I have good people like you, thanks for the interview once again, who are trying to get the message out there. And people are open to this. And at the end of the day, it comes down to results. At the end of the day, you have to ask yourself, why is it that Tom Paladino has hundreds, thousands of testimonies from people around the world, and they're favorable testimonies. And those testimonies are almost counterintuitive. It's like, how could you access a force field on a person through their photograph and people feel better? Well, you can't explain that in biological terms. Obviously, a photograph is not biologically viable. We're working with energy fields.
Right. You know what I was fascinated by? You were talking about like people that channel, they enter that scalar light frequency. People psychics, you talk about, I want you to explain that, how, because I have interviewed many of that, and a lot of my listeners are fascinated by that and have opened that channel lately. Like that, I think that's been something where people have like started to connect to that. And I now can say that's the scalar light energy.
Yes, it is. So once again, when somebody sends me their photograph, they teleport to my laboratory. Okay. You're in two places at once. Now, this dimension that allows teleportation also allows clairvoyance, or it allows the gift of prophecy, or it's the realm of thought, or the realm of intention, or the realm of creativity. This is the non-physical aura that many people say that they have. Or some people say it's angelic because obviously angels can pass through a brick wall, right, so to speak. Well, when you send me your photograph, you're teleporting to my laboratory, and you've already penetrated my laboratory walls. How? Because you're non-physical, you're spirit light.
Right.
So again, we're not working at this biological level. We're working at the realm of angels, the realm of spirit. It's entirely different physics. But it's very exciting because the electromagnetic spectrum, you're bound to space and time. That's your ball and chain. That's your anchor, space and time. Scalar energy, you transcend, you overcome space and time. And that's why your photograph allows you to be in two places at once. That's right. You bilocate to my laboratory. That's right. I mean every word of that. Energetically, you're in two places at once.
What was the Russian person that was studying beetles?
Yeah.
And will you explain that story? I thought that was fascinating.
There's a Russian scientist who's actually an entomologist. His name is Viktor Grebennikov. He studied scalar energy in nature, and he discovered that, if you will, various insects had this ability to hover or to levitate. Well, he discovered that there was a specific beetle in Russia that could easily experience anti-gravity and levitate. Well, lo and behold, with that technology, with that understanding of a beetle wing, Grebennikov was able to create an anti-gravity platform and levitate. Now, when Grebennikov was levitating on this platform, many people say that he was no longer visible to the naked eye. Why? He's in the spirit realm. He became non-physical, and people lost track of him because he was in this anti-gravity scalar energy environment that you cannot see somebody with your naked eye. While Grebennikov was levitating on this scalar energy platform, his wristwatch never advanced. Why? You're outside of time and space. Time does not factor into a scalar energy environment. Time stood still. Grebennikov would be aloft. He would be experiencing this anti-gravity, if you will, journey, and he might have been gone for 3 or 4 hours. And when he returned to Earth, back to the ground, he saw that his wristwatch was always behind 2, 3, 4 hours. Why? Because his wristwatch was outside of time. Grebennikov was outside of time. It's an interesting physics in which you become non-physical and you're no longer subject to space and time.
Okay. So, then I know you're a very Christian man and, believe in like your God is your source when we speak of source energy, God for you. And I was reading about, in the Bible, it talks about, Jesus and how his healing was the scalar light healing.
Yes. Now, this gives credence not only to telepathy, this non-physical presence, or healing hands. And how did Jesus heal? Well, the preferred method is through scalar energy, through its divine energy. So Jesus could touch somebody and heal them by imparting this non-physical light, this energy to people. Now, this gives great expression and, if you will, credence to the fact that some people can heal through prayer, through meditation. What is prayer and meditation then? It's a form of a scalar wave. It's some type of emanation, some type of administration of scalar energy. It's not electricity. So this intelligence, scalar intelligence, can heal people. This is how God healed people.
Right. So explain how, so when people hear that, you can go through the Bible and hear all the stories. I was reading your website about, that was amazing. How when it's like, it's in the Bible, right?
Yes.
What in your mind, like when you're now coming and we're 2024 and you're trying to, I hate to say convince or sell people on this idea, but it's been in our life forever.
It has. It's the energy of the sun and the stars. You take when God the Father appeared to Moses in a burning bush. Why is it that the bush did not burn? Well, God manifests in scalar energy. Scalar energy is not a chemical. So you could have this burning bush without a chemical decomposition. So why did the burning bush not burn? Why was there no consumption? When God presents himself, he presents himself in scalar light, in this manifestation of scalar energy. Scalar energy cannot burn a bush. Scalar energy cannot cause a chemical decomposition. And that's why the burning bush never burned. Yeah. You refer to the Ark of the Covenant. The Ark of the Covenant was a scalar energy vessel. And what happened? Well, many miracles could take place with this Ark of the Covenant, to the point that sometimes there was a cloud that would hover over the Ark of the Covenant, which is another sign of anti-gravity, in which a cloud would accompany the Ark wherever the Ark would travel. So as the Ark traveled, this anti-gravity atmosphere traveled with it.
Right. And explain so all the earthquakes, the volcanoes, the tornadoes, that's all in scalar energy.
Yes. Well, a lot of people say, what's an earthquake? Well, it's the seismic movement. Well, that's obvious. What is it causes? What's that push that causes an earthquake? It's scalar energy. How can I prove that? Well, at least in theory, I can. Many farm animals, dogs and cats, can sense an earthquake is coming. They feel it.
Right.
What do they feel? They feel that push of scalar energy. So what causes an earthquake? The push is scalar energy. The result is seismic activity. And this is why many animals and some people feel an earthquake coming. They feel that upwelling. They feel that release of scalar energy. And if it's sufficient, the earth is going to move. So the cause of all earthquakes is a movement or a push, if you will, of scalar energy.
So when you see this world right now that you're trying to really heal and prove that this is the healing of the future. I mean, it should be the healing of our life since we knew Tesla, right? Yes. And now you're I mean, it's like I know you're like this humanitarian. You are doing this, you don't have patents on it. You don't, you're just trying to get that message out that it's there, Yes. So what is your mission? What do you see in the future? What do you want? What is your intention?
I want to heal the world with scalar energy. That's one mission. Earlier today in my laboratory, I was working with 500,000 photographs.
Right.
Remember,
so all those people sent their picture to you and you put them on that card.
Yes.
Okay.
That's correct. That's correct. This is just an example. Right. This instrument can easily accommodate in one day, say 10 million photographs. Now imagine what this means. Imagine And one day I could work with 10 million people, balance their chakras. What's a chakra balancing? Well, if I can illuminate a light, I can illuminate the mind. So that's a chakra balancing. So in one day, I could work with 10 million people, illuminate their mind, their brain waves, their chakras. I could source out, I could find, identify the human papillomavirus or the Epstein-Barr virus and eliminate it from their quantum field, their energy field. And then we're also able to download or impart, say, nutrients, antioxidants, amino acids. So you asked me, what's the goal? My goal is to work with 1 billion people a year. I want to work with 1 billion photographs a year, including livestock.
Because
they have health issues, soul, mind, and body for people, and likewise for animals. I want to work with animals for mind and body purposes. I've worked with many farmers and many ranchers, and they tell me their horses and their cows are healthier after I work with them. I work with many people around the world with their cats and dogs, and after I work with them through this non-physical information, their dogs and their cats are healthier. A lot of people say that they've come back to life. They're much more vibrant. So this is very promising.
Okay, so how do you think it's going, or how long do you think it's going to take for this mind, this world that we live in to start to, we always are talking lately, the new earth, we're moving into this new earth and the scalar energy healing. I mean, I see the healing is completely, when I started this podcast 4 years ago, we weren't talking about that yet, even.
No.
It's like, that's all we talk about. I talk about it on the phone with my friends all the time. It's just this healing is just taking this whole different, we're going back to the Tesla time.
We are, and it's because of people like you and disseminating the information. The world is yearning for this now. I've been at this now for 50 years. It's not been like this. It's almost exponential in the past 2 or 3 years, and I think the pandemic really started to make people think.
Right.
Long and short, it's unstoppable now because people realize that information, whether it's computer information or information through a Zoom call or information through an instrument, information is king. It's intelligence that's king. The result, the physical result, is just obvious.
Right. When you was in Tasmania, when you went to heal the HIV, you give that kind of testimony?
We do a lot of pro bono work around the world. People send us photographs from around the world. And my heart goes out to people. I'm going to show it quickly. This is the report that I received from Tanzania. We work with clinics in Tanzania, HIV/AIDS clinic. I'm going to briefly go through these photographs. Everybody that I'm showing by way of photograph from Tanzania at one time was HIV positive.
Okay.
By the way, I've never been to Tanzania.
Okay.
And after working with all of these folks from Tanzania, everybody says they feel fine. Nobody has a viral load for HIV. Nobody. Working with hundreds, thousands of people from Tanzania. Okay? So what's the point? Well, I think there's merit. I think we're on to something gigantic, and I think the world is starting to take note of that. We've even worked with their goat population in Tanzania. And the goats are healthy. And the goat production, if you will, the cheese is increased. If you will, the yield is increased of the goats.
Wow. So
many things that we can do. Livestock are working with people by the millions through their photographic force field. It's just a little bit longer, a little extra time before people understand this, and this should just take off.
When you say 2020 is when people started to wake up and see this, in your belief, do you believe that 2020 came and that was the beginning of it, or that was the beginning of some kind of thing, but it's to take the world to where you want to see it? And with the vaccine and people probably coming and trying to help, get COVID and all that stuff with you.
Yeah. 2020 was really almost a tipping scale for many people. They realized that there are limitations to our current value system, to our current methodology with science, including medical science. People are now starting to look outside the box. People want solutions. Now, this is my entire contention. Scalar energy is a new science with new possibilities. We must advance. We must try something new. But I agree with you. 2020, the pandemic, that really made people, that many people are starting to think now. They're thinking outside the box, and good for them.
Do you think so? With your machine, is it going to be in? Are we going to buy them one day? Are they going to be in our homes one day?
Eventually, we'll have to. Eventually, we'll have to. I don't have the means to. It's that will take billions of dollars to manufacture this. I am a theorist. I'm an inventor. I want to introduce this to the world. Now, where the world takes this, I don't know. But my goal throughout the rest of my life, as long as I'm here, I'll continue on promulgating this.
When you talk about, so I was, when I had first heard about you, it was like when I was going through menopause and the nutrients and how you can put in, B12 into the picture. So, that to people are going to go, well, how does he put the nutrients through light? We don't even have to take vitamins.
You don't. And per se, I don't take vitamins. I receive all of my vitamins energetically. Now, keep in mind, everything has information, whether you swallow a vitamin or whether I impart the vitamin by way of a photograph. This is riboflavin. Okay. It's a beautiful photograph, by the way, magnified riboflavin. And I want that energy. I simply place my photograph inside the instrument with riboflavin. Now, everything is, again, communication or sharing of information. So the energy of riboflavin is downloaded into me. And in so doing, I receive that information of riboflavin, not chemically. And in so doing, then my body says, I'm no longer hungry. Many times, just to be quite candid, I only eat 1 or 2 meals a day. Okay. I'm not hungry. Why am I not hungry? I have 24-hour care, so to speak. I have 24 hours of nutrition being downloaded energetically into me. This is how I achieve my multivitamin, through energy, not through a chemical. Frankly, I think this is the best way to receive your vitamins or antioxidants because you don't rely upon the circulatory system or metabolism. We don't have to circulate anything. We simply impart this intelligence from head to toe in your energy field, so to speak.
Okay, so when people, let's try to, I think I need people to have a visual of when they send the picture, they have an ailment. I mean, even just, let's say it's weight loss, like you were saying, like, you put, what are you doing? You're putting certain pieces of pictures that help the weight loss?
Yes, exactly. For instance, somebody will come to me, they say, I need to lose some weight. Okay, so we have a program which will take, say, leptin. It's been associated with weight loss. It, if you will trigger the body not to be hungry. Now, if I took my photograph and placed it in the force field with leptin, I receive the instruction of leptin or the intelligence. And what does that intelligence do? It tells the body you're no longer hungry. For some reason, your body goes to a point of satiety. You're not hungry. You reduce your food intake. Now, many people who are under this program tell us it's not so much that they lose weight, but they're no longer hungry because they're receiving the hormones that they need, the enzymes that they need. So energetically, there's a set point and it says stop eating or you're not hungry. You don't need to eat. Wow. That's quite fascinating to me.
Very. When you say you eat twice a day, are you careful like with what kind of meat you eat? Like what are your
Yes, my wife and I are very scrupulous. We'll only eat natural food, organic food. But I will say without equivocation, this process has reduced my food intake. I am not hungry. Now, as we record this, I've not had anything to eat today. I am not hungry because I have this intelligence of minerals, antioxidants, natural foods, male hormones, digestive enzymes. I have this intelligence flooding me, so to speak. And in so doing, it really does reduce my food intake. I have this point of satiety. I'm not hungry.
Do you see in future, like we're going to think of the weight loss industry, think of the doctor, I mean, all the things you can help with this. Is that just pretty much that's just going to go away?
I'll say without equivocation, scalar energy will have a significant impact on the pharmaceutical industry.
Right. Which is why the Tesla, we could have had it back then in Tesla time, but now we've had to wait until now.
Yeah. By the way, later in his life, Tesla was working on free energy. He was able to take energy, and at a distance, you could light up a light bulb. I want to reenact that. I want to be able to use this energy at a distance to light up a light bulb or a building. Now, what does that mean? Well, it's free energy with a free infrastructure. Now, that's so important. The energy is from the sun and the stars, and you could just broadcast this anywhere without any telephone wires or cell phone towers or any type of power plant whatsoever. So it's free energy with a free distribution system. That in and of itself will solve our energy crisis.
Right. Tell us about like UFOs are coming out on the news and ETs, and you're explaining that is in that scalar energy. That's where they are at.
Yes, it has to be. Now, I'll tell you why. When we see an unidentified flying object, and that object can accelerate and deaccelerate very quickly without any G forces, that is an anti-gravity atmosphere. And you only can achieve that with scalar energy. Scalar energy is the cause of gravity. So if you can, if you will, negate gravity by way of scalar energy, then you can have this anti-gravity craft that will propel itself simply by virtue of the fact that you manipulate gravity. So an anti-gravity flying platform or saucer, call it what you will, does not use propulsion. By negating gravity, that's the push. So going back to Viktor Grebennikov, who developed an anti-gravity platform, he did not have any propulsion or even wings. The aerodynamic aspect is irrelevant because you're in an anti-gravity environment. Wings, propulsion, rockets, boosters, that's all obsolete. So this is what I contend is happening with these unidentified flying objects. They negate gravity, and then you could move at a flash. You can accelerate quickly without any harm to you because there's no G forces. If you recall, I mentioned that Grebennikov could travel on this anti-gravity platform, and he never had any G forces. His hair was never ruffled. And he never experienced any wind. Now, this anti-gravity platform did not have an enclosure. There was no protective glass. He did not need a protective glass. He was in this, if you will, this bubble of anti-gravity in which he could not have a collision. He could not experience a G-force.
Oh, Tom.
Yeah, it's the future.
It is the future, but are we going to be living there? Are we going to be living in that?
Yes, we are.
You talk about, the angelic realm, people, the psychics, the channelers, the people that access that, they say, when I've had people that are mediums, like you say, your dad has passed on and he's, he's right here. You just aren't at that level to be able to connect to him like the channel or the medium is.
Yeah, there is an afterlife, and that's the non-physical realm that we're going to, the spirit. Now, why? I don't want to be in the physical realm forever. I'd rather be in the non-physical spirit realm. It's so much easier.
Right.
So why not, if you will, aspire to that non-physical science? I'm going to paraphrase Tesla. Tesla said, when scientists will embrace non-physical science, they'll make greater progress in 1 decade than what they have in centuries past. Okay? Why? Because it's the non-physical, the information, that drives the physical. We've been putting the cart before the horse. This is foolish. Go to the information, go to the intelligence. The intelligence is scalar energy.
Right. Go back to the pyramids. My friends are in Egypt right now. Explain that.
Yeah, many pyramids and obelisks are passive capacitors, batteries of scalar energy. And this is why some people who venture inside a pyramid, if they're there for any extended period, they feel that they're energized, or that they may have had a problem of some type of malady, some type of illness, and they're no longer afflicted. They've been cured. Well, what happened? Well, it was the pyramid intelligence that cured these people, which is scalar energy. So many of the pyramids and obelisks that we see today are designed to capture scalar energy.
And then there was somewhere in Colorado that Tesla had a rod that.
Yes. Yeah. In 1899, Tesla set up a scalar energy tower. Now, notably, this tower was at an elevation of, say, 6,000 or 7,000 feet. He did not have immediate access to a power plant. So Tesla was drawing in from the Rocky Mountains the energy from the stars. And he was able, with this tower in Colorado Springs, to create, if you will, miniature lightning bolts. He was able to illuminate objects at a distance. He proved to himself in 1899 that scalar energy was indeed a reality. At that time, he's no longer interested in AC electricity. A lot of people don't realize this. Tesla had two careers. He started with AC electricity. Later in his life, he devoted all of his time to scalar energy, what he called radiant energy.
Okay. But it's just, that's the thing. I like when I hear those stories, that was all happening, and it just had to stop.
It was an act of suppression. Let's just call it what it is.
Okay, active suppression.
He was brilliant, and the world was enthralled with his work. But he was so advanced that he was introducing the next stepping stone for humanity, which is scalar energy. And that stepping stone simplifies life, and it, if you will, it no longer presents scarcity. If scalar energy is from the sun and the stars, there's no scarcity. Now, if there's no scarcity, you change your economic order. Right. Today, we have scarcity. And some people make a lot of money off of scarcity. Let's just be blunt about this. Right. Well, Tesla was introducing a new economic order with very little, or if you will, reduced scarcity. If sun and star are free, they are. And if we can access sun and star, then we will, if you will, in a consummate fashion, address scarcity. Scarcity. That's the number one impediment in any economic model. Well, this is what Tesla had done with free energy from the sun and the stars. But there were international bankers back then who did not want that. There are men of industry, the captains of industry wanted scarcity.
Right. There was one thing I was listening to you explain how, like that movie Rain Man.
Yeah.
That was explained.
Rain Man is a genius. Lawrence Kim Peek, he was actually a figure. He lived in Salt Lake City. He had this ability to memorize. He could memorize. He had a photographic memory. He actually was so incredible that he could read a book, and with his left eye, he could read the left-hand side of the book. And his right eye, he could read the right-hand side of the book. Now, this is, to me, this is beyond human comprehension. How did he do it? And he did this effortlessly. It was through intelligence. All intelligence originates as scalar energy. So apparently, Rain Man, Lawrence Kim Peek, was able to look at a book and memorize it word for word. How do you do that? It's a gift of scalar energy. Now, all of that speaks to or points to the fact that we are scalar energy beings. My brain waves are scalar waves. And if I had that identical intelligence, I could memorize 10,000 books as he had accomplished in his lifetime. Can you imagine that? Memorizing 10,000 books effortlessly.
Amazing. What can, like, tapping into that, like I have two children, like getting this generation where I feel like, there are these new souls coming into this world, and they're so beyond what we were coming into this world, and their energy and vibration. Where do you see, like, is the school system and how they learn and what they get to do with their healing and all that?
Well, I would hope in the next few years we have very powerful scalar energy instruments that could download intelligence, that will learn just as Rain Man learned through this afflatus, through this download of energy. So you can do it the hard way and read and memorize, or you can do it the easy way and have this imparting of wisdom, this infused wisdom. That's what scalar energy is. That's what Rain Man had, infused wisdom. I'd like to see all of our students learn by infused wisdom.
Explain how they would put on a helmet.
No, well, not necessary, because scalar energy can pass through anything. It'd just be a very strong scalar energy instrument that could open up their brain waves that would allow them to, the information is out there. Whatever Rain Man did, he simply could gather that information. For instance, Rain Man had what I'd call calendar, date, location. You could ask him what day of the week was the Declaration of Independence signed. What day of the week is July 4th, 1776? And he could instantly come up with the answer to that. So he had calendar date recognition. Somehow, somewhere, God gave him this ability to see all of the calendars in his mind. And he could pinpoint any day of an event, the day of the week that it took place. How do you do that? Well, apparently there's this infinite intelligence, including a calendar, past and in present and future. And Rain Man had this calendar, this if you will, this ongoing calendar embedded in his mind. All of that speaks to the point that scalar energy is infinite intelligence, including a calendar. And if Rain Man could pick out a day in his mind instantly and ascertain what day of the week a certain event took place, Rain Man had a calendar in his mind. Well, how do you do that? You don't memorize calendars. It comes naturally. And the sky's the limit. You know, as they say, game over. Once we enter into this scalar energy realm, it'll change everything.
Right. When you think of time, because there's no time in scalar energy.
Exactly. It's timeless.
Timeless.
This energy is responsible for time. When you rotate scalar energy one way, time moves forward. Reverse that rotation, scalar energy, time moves backwards. So the cause of time is a river, time is motion, scalar motion. If the river is flowing and the time moves forward, reverse the river, so to speak, time moves backwards. Well, what is the river? It's the rotation of scalar energy. That's the river of time.
Okay. So, Tom, in your mind, how do you view your soul living in that body on this planet and time? And when you pass on and your energy goes, where does your energy go?
Yeah, I believe I have an immortal soul. I go back to God.
Okay.
Yeah. And that proves that if we have a soul and it's immortal, the soul is outside of time. The soul transcends time. So the soul has to be scalar energy.
Right. Do you come back as
you can come back as a glorified body. Yes. Yes. Yes.
And but why would you want to come back?
Well, only to impart a message to those living in this realm. But I do believe in heaven. I am a Christian, and I do believe when we go to heaven, we have glorified scalar energy bodies. That way we cannot be sick. That way we cannot die, because we're in a glorified scalar energy state. I believe scalar energy describes heaven. It's the perfect steady state. Whereas this world is electricity and magnetism. That's why you die. If you want to know the cause of disease and death, it's electromagnetic energy.
So when we decided to come down in our bodies right now, we wanted to experience the complete opposite of scalar light.
Yeah, I believe we all had Adam and Eve, I believe, were immortal. That's what we're told. And they were immortal because they were still in a scalar energy perfection. Adam and Eve enjoyed scalar energy to an exalted degree. With the fall of Adam and Eve, electricity and magnetism were introduced to the world. It changed nature changed.
Right. So when you go to heaven and you're part of the scalar light energy, that's
Yep.
That's our source.
Yes.
That's God's source.
Yes.
It's all one.
Yes.
Just this little Tom Paladino decided in this, he's still up there, right?
Yes. Yes.
You're part of your source is still, you're still in heaven.
Yes.
But a little particle of you just decided to come down and experience the contrast.
Yeah.
To do this, to make a difference.
Yeah. Angels always visit us. The saints always visit us. And in their glorified body, they can come to earth and they can instruct us. But they're not subject to this world. They're not subject to electromagnetic energy. I'm firmly convinced that heaven is 100% scalar energy. And if you're in heaven, whether you're an angel or a glorified person, you are perfect because scalar energy, if you will, floods you, so to speak. There's no electricity or magnetism in heaven.
Right. Wow, you're like, I mean, I could sit here all day and throw things at you because it's like it's the truth. It's where life is going, but should have been, thousands of years ago.
Right. You're right. We've given up our heritage. Tesla tried to give it back to us. People don't realize what he had achieved. Tesla was on the cusp of getting us not only free energy, but imagine if we would have used scalar intelligence, some type of instrument, some type of machine to give us a great deal of, if you will, knowledge, infused knowledge. You would not have to study your brains out, so to speak.
Right.
We'd have just this download, this afflatus of scalar energy, scalar intelligence. It worked for Rain Man. Mark my word, purportedly, he memorized 10,000 volumes during his life. How can you memorize 10,000 books?
Right. Have there been more than one Rain Man?
Yeah, there are some savants that have the ability for mathematical computation, something that you would need a rather sophisticated calculator. They can calculate in their head. Some people have the gift of languages. They can learn a language in a week or so, or a couple of weeks. How do you do that? It has to be this download of information.
Right. And they get that download. How do they get the access to that?
Well, it's peculiar. Some people have had accidents. I remember there's a man, Derek Amato. He was in a swimming pool accident. He hit his head, and because of that, scalar energy started to flood him, so to speak. Well, he could pick up a musical instrument after this, if you will, this concussion, and he could play the piano. He never had a piano lesson in his life. So this concussion opened up this flood of scalar intelligence, infused wisdom, and he was an adept piano player without taking one lesson.
Huh. Oh, wow. I'm sure there's so many of that. And now that I can relate it to scalar light, scalar energy, and I have a whole different view on scalar light energy. I've learned so much from you, Tom. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. What have I missed? People get 15 days free. What give us your spiel.
Yeah. I have to prove this. Thank you for the interview. I have to prove what I'm doing. So go to my website. We offer anybody in the world 15 days of free session, scalarlight.com. And you're simply going to send your photo. You can include your family with their permission. Send us your photograph. Send us a family collage if you want. And then experience this. You experience this pathogenic cleanse. You experience the fact that we can download nutrients into your quantum field. How would you feel after 15 days of receiving energetically vitamins and minerals, etc.? You experience it, then you tell us how you feel.
Right. I love it. So scalarlight.com.
Yes.
And that's where they can take the 15 days. I just, you're opening up so many people's eyes right now. And I can't wait to share this with my world. And, I look at, when I was thinking about today, meeting you and thinking how I get to share you that I've known for the last few, 3 years, with my world. Like that, this podcast is a gift to me that I get to do that. And I feel so honored to, it's like so important to me for people to understand this. And I'm so grateful for this time with you, Tom. It's really been amazing.
And thanks for your time and your effort. I really appreciate it. Let's change the world. Remember, great technology must be matched, coincide with great morality. And when you have that, you can change the world.
There we go. Love it. Thank you so much, Tom.